It's a really good day for the Windham County Sheriff's Office, but more importantly, for everyone that's out on the highway. So I want to thank our local legislators who are here today, both Molly Burke and Valerie Stewart for coming. Thank you very much. I do want to recognize Commissioner Ide, who made the trip down from Montpelier. He'll speak in a few minutes. All the staff, and certainly to all the State Farm reps, thank you very much for coming today. So a couple of years ago, Mike Roy, who spent 27 years in the Vermont State Police and who now works for me, came to me with an idea. And the idea was that we put together through our office a training program specifically for teens so that they could drive safer. Because when you look at the stats, a teenage driver has a higher likelihood in their first 2 years of driving of being in a crash, and often a very serious crash. And if we could save lives and reduce property damage, reduce injuries, then it seemed like a really good idea. But then the question comes up, that the questions that sheriffs always ask, well, how is this going to be paid for? That's always the question. I tell you, the very first thing I said to Mike, how do we pay for this? So we reached out to some folks, and one of the people that got back to us was State Farm, and they said, you know what, even though it's still conceptual, we think it's a good idea and we want to support it. So they actually wrote us a small check a couple of years ago just to get the program started. And Mike will talk a little bit about the program, where it is now, but what's been interesting over just the last 2 years is the program has started to grow. And it's growing not because of the things that we're seeing, or saying, or teachers. It's growing because of the input of the teens that are getting the training. It is their feedback that has said, we would like to see this, we would like more of that. And the program started to grow, and then the question came up again, how do we pay for this? And we reached out to State Farm, and they said, hey, there's a program that we offer, it's called the Youth Advisory Board. And there's some funds available, and they take applications from around the country. And the idea of this grant is to really, it's not necessarily always highway safety or community safety. It's for anything that youth in the community think are beneficial. And I may have the numbers off a little bit, but I think it was about 850 applicants nationwide. And we applied. They funded less than 10%, of which we were one of the recipients. And so with that, we're going to be able to grow this program in a way we never thought possible just a couple of years ago. And Mike will talk about where we're going to go with that. But it hasn't been just us in law enforcement. This is one of those rare things where it's truly a partnership across many different fields. It's law enforcement, it's our public educators, it's certainly the private partnership with State Farm. It's also a lot of input from the kids, the teens. And I'm glad that you're here today, because this program was started by us, but it's really your program. And the growth is from your input and where it's going to go because of this new funding. And to me, that's critical, because we're doing something proactive. You know, a lot of people think of law enforcement that we're only going to respond when the crash occurs. We don't want to respond to the crash. We would love it if there was never another crash involving a teen driver. And that's what this program is meant to do. So first and foremost, I want to thank the students, the teachers, the supervisory unit, the principals, and certainly State Farm for all your support. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Mike Roy. He's going to talk a bit about what the program does and then what we're looking to do with the new funding. So Mike.
Thank you, Sheriff. As mentioned, my name is Mike Roy. I'm a deputy with the Windham County Sheriff's Office. I'm also the founder, coordinator, scheduler, instructor, financial means to the enhanced teen driver safety program, everything from start to finish. And my wife will constantly remind me, and you're only working part-time with the Windham County Sheriff's Office. As mentioned before, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about our program goals and what we started from the beginning, from inception, on working on. And it provided us an opportunity, law enforcement, to go into a classroom environment, especially the driver's education, right at the entry level, where teens are first starting to establish a foundation of highway safety. And we had a structured curriculum where we were able to present some proactive steps, some techniques, some tips, some strategies to teens in order for them to make best proper choices. After all, law enforcement officers, as Sheriff Clark mentioned, we're the ones that are traveling to these crashes. We're investigating these crashes. We're developing and determining causation. Why are they happening? And there are trends that continue to take place, especially when we talk about teens. Trends as to why they're being involved in crashes. So it only makes sense that we're taking all this knowledge from police officers, and in my case, I've spent 31 years on the road as a police officer, committing my life to highway safety in the state of Vermont. And so it's a nice transition for me to go into a classroom and say, okay, teens, this is what police officers are seeing, and these are things that you can do to avoid getting yourself into making poor decisions, so you're learning from other people's mistakes, along with the knowledge that I've gained over those 3 decades on tips and techniques so that they're safer, because it is the most dangerous time throughout their entire driving career as far as their vulnerability to be involved in crashes. But beyond that, when we came up with this concept, I said that we have to mandate that we have a parents' conference, because parents play such an important role in the development of a teenager, that we have to bring them in. We have to make sure there's a consistency. The teenagers spend so much time with their parents driving that the few hours that they're in the classroom represents just a fraction of the information that they're going to gain. So it was important for us to bring the parents in, so that a parent who just lacks the knowledge but has the desire to want to help their teen through this position and through this time frame will have the opportunity to meet with myself, to meet with a seasoned and extremely versed driver's education instructor, as Mr. Hatt is here at the Brattleboro Union High School, and we can develop strategies together as a team so that we're creating a consistent model for the teen, and explaining to them the important role that they play as a coach and as a mentor. The history of our program is in 2014. We started with 25 students, 3 topics here at Brattleboro as a pilot project. We were granted $5,000 at that time by State Farm. We quickly expanded throughout Windham County, and we went into Windham County schools, and we came up with a testing curriculum so that we were able to test the results and the ability for the teens to retain the information. And from there, we incorporated the parents' conferences, and because we were looking for additional support and funding, State Farm completely bought into the concept of what we were trying to get across, and they gave us another $7,500. And in 2015, we launched Facebook, and now we have a comprehensive Facebook page, and it was designed for 2 main reasons. The first one was that a parent or a teen, I'm 1 click away for them to ask any question regarding anything to do with highway safety, anything to do with interaction with law enforcement out on the road. For a parent that meets with me in that conference, I'm 1 click away on a computer on Facebook to ask any questions, and my God, do I get questions on a regular basis from different parents and teens about, is this legal, is that legal, what is the law pertaining to this? To include other driver's ed instructors who are not as seasoned in knowing the nuances between the 758 pages of the motor vehicle law that exists within the state of Vermont. We're currently at 3,000 followers with our Facebook account through the Enhanced Teen Driver Safety Program. As of today, we have 4 schools that the program is being offered to. We have 150 students that are currently involved in the curriculum of the Enhanced Teen Driver Safety Program, where I'm working hand in hand collaboratively in the classroom with fantastic partners such as Mr. Mike Hatt, who is the instructor here at Brattleboro. We have as many as 8 topics that we're offering to the teenagers through my program, and I'm part of and the membership of 2 teen youth groups within Windham County, so that I'm constantly keeping in contact with them and getting feedback from them. What's important to you when it comes to highway safety? And most importantly, and this is where the fun begins, is we are right on the edge of purchasing driving simulators. With this funding as of today from State Farm, we're going to be able to bring in simulators. We're going to be able to test our students and present them with challenges that we've only up to now been able to present in the classroom. Now we'll be able to do it in a safe environment where teens will be behind the wheel of a vehicle, and they're going to be challenged within a 3-dimensional environment with everything from adverse weather conditions to snow and to ice, and various traffic violators, aggressive driving. So they're going to actually put the theory into place and learn by doing so. All of our programs are customizable. Here at Brattleboro, most of our classes run a little over half an hour. I have other schools, it's 2 hours. Bottom line is my position is I support the driver's education program and the incredible work that's being done by various instructors associated with the VDTSEA, which is the governing body for all driver's education instructors in the state of Vermont. We cover areas such as speed, reaction time, and the importance of that. We talk about the hazards of drugs and alcohol. We talk about collisions with consequences, where I take actual investigations that I've been involved in where teenagers have made really poor choices or something that can be learned from what happened at that crash and bring that wisdom and knowledge to the teens so that they'll be equipped with that. Motor vehicle law, it's called Title 23 in Me, where I break down the motor vehicle law and I apply it to the students and get them to understand some of the important aspects to it, such as speeding and how speed is something that puts their privilege to drive in the greatest degree of jeopardy. We talk about safety and defective equipment and the importance between both, and how safety equipment can really make a difference in a positive way and impact you, and how defective equipment can really ruin your day. And we talk about some of the things that I've encountered throughout my career. We talk about adverse weather conditions, and here in Vermont we have the snow and ice, but in any environment, 12 months out of the year, we talk about hydroplaning. We talk about techniques so that teens can safely navigate through this stuff. Talk about emergency vehicles and expectations during a traffic stop, so if they should ever be in a vehicle and being stopped by a police officer, or if they should come in contact with a fire truck or an ambulance that's responding code to a scene, what they should do, what the legal requirements are, what the safest thing to do. And what sets my program apart from just about any other that I'm aware of anywhere is the parent conference. And here's the multi-purpose room in one of our parent conferences. It's a program that is getting a lot of acceptance, where parents come in and we have that opportunity as a group to meet, to discuss the importance of establishing those partnerships. And here's the Facebook account that I mentioned to you earlier through the Enhanced Teen Driver Safety Program. It's a fantastic opportunity to just have that connection. But the program results go well beyond highway safety. And initially when I started, and the concept when I was meeting with Rich Hoppy, who's the local agent here for State Farm in Brattleboro, we thought all about highway safety and keeping our teens safe. And the same thing when Mike Hatt and I, we were the two that sat down and said, what if we could make this possible? And we dreamt up this program of structured curriculum. We always thought about just teen safety and trying to avoid teens from getting in these horrible crashes that I've investigated throughout my career. But what we found out as we started to get this program rolling is it did so much more than just highway safety. Teen exposure to police officers in a positive light doesn't happen that often. And here, I'm being presented to a teenager in a positive light. I explained to him day one, I have one single mind and purpose, and that is to help you, to coach you, to support you any way I can, to establish a relationship with our teens. How many times does a police officer say that to you on any other platform? It just doesn't happen. And in today's world, and where we see the social media and we see the news reports of the stereotypes of law enforcement held in a negative light, this is an opportunity right at the beginning for a teenager to say, you know what I'm seeing and hearing around the country isn't so. It isn't the only thing law enforcement is. We have a police officer who comes in on a regular basis and he works with us. He cares about us. He wants us to succeed in a positive light. And boy, the feedback, as mentioned, and these are literal quotes that I receive from teens as feedback from our program, and it's just a small section of both parents and teens that I hear. And I believe they truly understand that I'm there for them, especially through the Facebook. Even after the program's over, I still have relationships with teens from 2 years ago that I established when they were part of my program. And at the end of the day, our program doesn't work. My program doesn't get off the ground without the generous support of State Farm Insurance Company. Not only through the funds, where we're approaching now $100,000 that they're investing, not in me, not in the Enhanced Teen Driver Safety Program. They're investing those funds in our community. They're investing in our teens, in our highway safety, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to encourage our teens to do positive things. Now, one of the things that were looking to purchase, as I mentioned to you, was these driving simulators. And
everyone drives. We drive for work, our kids drive to school, and our families drive for all kinds of reasons. But accidents are not accidents. They are mistakes. Safe driving requires experience, judgment, and your full attention. All are skills effectively taught using simulation-based driver safety training for both new teen drivers and corporate fleet drivers from Virtual Driver Interactive.
And one of the reasons why we went with this particular product, quite frankly, is because the parent component. Parents literally are going to be able to sign on, and they're going to be able to see what their teens are currently doing, where their teens are currently struggling when they're on the simulators, and whether or not they're focused on lane control and a variety of other things that these simulators are going to provide for our teens and for our overall teen highway safety. So we're really excited about the future for our program. We're also going to be shooting PSAs, public safety. We've established a relationship with a professional video company, and we have some incredible ideas, all based and supported by the teens, of coming up with some things that have never been done. I can't find it on YouTube, with some concepts of the importance that parents play in the development of good strategies and driving techniques, that we're going to make that available to every driver's education program in the state. We have some rap music artists in one of the schools that have already developed several music videos, all related to highway safety. We're going to advance and promote that type of activity. And working with the various different teen groups, we're going to have highway safety fairs in high schools where we're going to get the buzz and the word going, and being able to communicate with our teens and their level as to the importance of highway safety, so that it's talked about on a regular basis and the importance of it. These are all things that never would have been possible without the generous support of so many partners that I have the great privilege to work with, that Sheriff Clark has already mentioned across the board. So that ends the presentation that I put together with you. It just gives you a quick taste of what we've done, where we've been, and the direction of where we're going.
Thanks, Mike. So if I can have the State Farm reps and team come up. So it is truly our honor to have State Farm here today. Some of these folks have traveled all the way from New Jersey. I'm not sure how they got past screening, but we did let them into the state of Vermont. But these are the folks, in particular, again, I want to thank Jennifer Young here in the front. Jennifer was instrumental in helping us get through the grant process. And having never met her, she really didn't know us, but she very much was instrumental in helping us get this grant. So thank you, Jennifer, and everyone at State Farm.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm one of the evil Jersey people that was just referenced. My name is Jennifer Young, and I'm joined here. Please bear with me. I have a little cheat sheet because we have quite a crew here today. So we have two sales leaders here, PJ Fernari and Ralph Grover. They're sort of like agency managers, is that fair to say? And then we also have several agents here. Rich Hoppy, Jim Thibodeau, did I pronounce that?
Thibodeau,
Yes,
that's right.
Thibodeau,
Yeah.
I apologize. Jerry Farnham and Greg Carlson. So I'm going to just give a little wave, thank you. So at State Farm, we provide grants to a lot of different organizations, both on a national level and on a local level. And we provide funding for many different focuses. So it's financial literacy, emergency preparedness, pedestrian safety, many different topics. But our number one priority is teen driver safety. And again, that's both nationally and locally. And you heard a little bit from the sheriff before about our youth advisory board program. That's a board made up of 30 young people, about 17 to 20 years old, nationwide, and they manage a budget of $5 million a year. It's a lot of money. And they receive about, as you said, about 150 applications a year for youth advisory board grants. They go through all of those grants, they meet together, and they range again in topic. They fund, after going through all of those grant applications, they fund typically between 60 and 65 of those programs every year. So what I'm getting at is, I won't go through all the math and the statistics, but what I'm getting at is, obviously, you're doing something very right. It says a lot about this program. It says a lot about the people involved in the program, that you were weeded through so many different applicants, many fantastic programs and applicants out there, but it says a lot about this program. So we're so thrilled to be here today and to present you with a check for $61,135.
Thank you very much.
Oh, look at that!
As Mike can explain, that banner was put together by teens and has been signed by many of the teens that either have been through his program or are currently in the program. That is
That's
for you.
fantastic.
What State Farm is looking at right now is 18 feet of thank you. Because I knew that State Farm was going to be presenting us with a very large check in more than one way. And what we, within the driver's education community and within our highway safety partnership, wanted to thank State Farm in a very big way. So what you're looking at is over 200 signatures of various partners, teams, both present and in the past, that have been part of our program, who took the time to sign, create, first of all, create, make, and then distribute this banner around to the various high schools and get it here and to present it to State.
Finally, I'd like to have Commissioner Ide know you got a couple of minutes. You made the trip down from it. So just a couple of words, Commissioner Ide.
Yes.
Good word.
Commissioner of the Department of Motor Vehicles, and he's really here.
2 words, all for the students, so the students that are left. Rights and privileges. In your government classes, you probably have learned a lot about rights. Driving is a privilege. Every time you get behind the wheel, you have permission to do it, but you have no right to do it. So your behavior, the behavior you model for others, is what's so very important for us going forward. At every new employee orientation, we go through we have to set the standard by which other people drive. So you join our effort and be as safe as you can be. It's a privilege. I don't want to take it away. Although on an average week, 1,400 documents in Vermont are recommended by the court system to the Department of Motor Vehicles for suspension for bad behaviors. It'd be a lot easier for us if that number were 0. So it's a privilege, not a right. Always remember to exercise your privileges with respect and caution. And good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.